Hello and welcome to Levels Plus Whenever, episode 161. And today we're going to talk about my favorite role-playing games, strategy games, tactics games as just one gigantic list. Because it just seemed to be the easiest way of handling this proposition. This is prompted partially by the forum that I go to has decided to kick off a Japanese role-playing game list. And I recently went through a separate list process for that and then remembered I had this one that I've been meaning to record for a very long time. So here we are. Before we do that, though, I have some pickups. All right, pickups. Let's start with Hades 2. Finally got this for the Switch 2. I've got the cool lenticular cover on for that. I also got By Sweet Carol, which I've heard pretty good things about. And Pac-Man World 2 Repack. These last two I picked up with some Best Buy certificates that I had accumulated, so I didn't pay for either of these, really. Maybe some tax. But that's not all. There's a big thing. This is the Grease Neva Collector's Edition. I've been waiting quite a while for this. I originally ordered it from Amazon UK, but with all the shenanigans happening, I thought it would be better to order it domestically. So I did, from my least favorite thing to order from. I'm very thankful to see that this box has not really been damaged in any way, because the outside box that it was shipped in certainly was. Looks like there's a little ding on the corner here, but that's okay. Already, this is gorgeous. I adore the art of Nevada Studio, which is why I had to invest in getting this. It's because I just can't stop myself from getting collector's editions of their artistry. So I'm very excited to see what's all in here, because it's been so long that I barely remember what's all in here. Alright, well, first of all, there's this lovely interior artwork of Grease and Neva. And Alva, I forget her name off the top of my head. But PS5 version of both games. And then, if memory serves, and we have a vinyl of both game soundtracks. Probably can't quite see all of this. I do like that they used the different fonts that represent each. Doesn't look like they did anything too fancy with the covers. That's okay. And last but not least is a art book for both games. So here's the Grease side, here's the Neva side. I already have the signature edition of Grease. So I'm going to be comparing the two to see how different this is. And then on the flip side is all of Neva's stuff. And then more of that artwork in between. Super, super nice looking though. I'm not going to spoil too much of the contents of this book. But yeah, I can't say that I have any complaints. This is pretty much what I remember being a part of it. I want to say that this, yep, there it goes. So there's also this lovely print that came out of the box. Last thing before I move on, I forgot that these came with steelbooks, and boy, they're really lovely looking. Just using the art for the vinyl, but super classy. Super happy with this. So glad it wasn't damaged in any significant way. And now I have one of my absolute favorite games of all time on PS5 as well as the Switch. And I finally have Neva physically. I've been waiting for that to happen. I love these games. I really do. They're both very, very special. And as I said, I will buy pretty much anything Nomada puts out there because they are at the top of their game in the industry in terms of artistry and emotional resonance. All right. So as you can see, there's a whole bunch of games here. 77 games total are in consideration for what I would pick as my top role-playing games, strategy games, tactics games. Now, my top 111 list is full of stuff already, so we'll probably have most of that list, which I think I've been doing a top 12 for prior genre-specific groupings. We'll keep it that way for this. But I have a feeling that if I look at that top 111 list and come back here, we're going to have those 12 games really fast. So before we just eliminate most of this list, let's actually just quickly touch on all the games that I've put in here. So we got Mario RPG Remake, Paper Mario 1000 Year Door, which I could upgrade to the remake at this point. Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, Earthbound, Fire Emblem Sacred Stones, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Fire Emblem Awakening, Fire Emblem Fate's Birthright, Fire Emblem Echoes, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Fire Emblem Engage, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, The Last Story, Breath of Fire 2, Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, Final Fantasy VII, which for some reason I put those out of order. For maximum confusion, I actually can add one to here, and I'm going to replace that. So Dragon Quest 1 HD 2D Remake, Dragon Quest 4, Dragon Quest 5, Dragon Quest 8, Dragon Quest 9, Dragon Quest... Is it Heroes Rocket Slime? I think that's what they called that. Chrono Trigger, Ogre Battle 64, Secret of Mana, Sword of Mana, Trials of Mana, Grandia 2, Lufia, Curse of the Sinistrals, Suikoden 1, 2, and 3, Vandal Hearts, Skies of Arcadia Legends, Persona 3 and 4, Metaphor, ReFantazio, Unicorn Overlord, Radiant Historia, Shadow Hearts Covenant, Shadow Hearts from the New World, Tales of Symphonia, Tales of Graces F, The Alliance Alive, Elder Scrolls Daggerfall, Elder Scrolls Morrowind, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, Elder Scrolls Skyrim, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Age of Mythology, Age of Empires 3, XCOM Enemy Unknown, XCOM Enemy Within, XCOM 2, War of the Chosen, Sid Meier's Pirates, Heroes of Might and Magic 4, The Bard's Tale 1, 2, and 3, Mule, Pool of Radiance, Dungeons and Dragons, Temple of Apshai, Little King's Story, Worms Armageddon, Clair Obscure Expedition 33, SteamWorld Heist, SteamWorld Quest, and SteamWorld Heist 2. Lots and lots and lots of games that I have played at least an hour or two of. That's kind of what I based a couple of these on. Like, I haven't beat Breath of Fire 2. I've only played about a couple hours of Suikoden 3, that type of thing. So, with all that being said, let me look at my top 111 real fast, which is updated as of November as well. So we've got Chrono Trigger, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Skies of Arcadia Legends, XCOM 2, Dragon Quest 8, Earthbound, Unicorn Overlord, Metaphor, XCOM Enemy Within, Clair Obscure, and SteamWorld Heist 2. All right, taking that list of 77, boiled it down to 12. All of them are like in the top 50, so this is a very strong representation of my feelings about this set of genres that I've lumped together, because I just feel like they all have connection. We'll spend about 1 to 3 minutes. We'll see if I could keep it around that range, because I don't want this to be a super long episode. Chrono Trigger. My second favorite game of all time. Truly a meeting of the great minds of the 1990s in terms of Japanese role-playing games, with Sakaguchi and Hori coming together from Square and Enix to work on this project, with Toriyama coming along for art, Uematsu coming along for some music contributions, although Mitsuda was the primary composer, and for his first big gig, knocked it out of the freaking park with the best soundtrack ever for a video game, still, in my opinion. Truly a masterclass of a whole bunch of Square and Enix talent coming together before they were one company and making the quintessential role-playing experience of the 1990s and beyond to me. I love the characters, I love the combat, I love wandering around and exploring, I love the storyline, I love the soundtrack, which should be pretty much a given how I just praised it as my favorite. There is absolutely nothing that I could balk about Chrono Trigger beyond its lack of a modern re-release outside of PC. It's just exquisitely designed start to finish. I really can't say too much more about it. It is the best game outside of Super Metroid for me. Fire Emblem Three Houses is also a top 5 game, and I think this is Nintendo and Intelligent Systems' supreme demonstration of how this series had been building up to that point. Exquisitely designed characters that have great voice acting and incredible narratives that you get to interact with and choose who you want as part of your team outside of your house. The three lords are all captivating in their own ways. I don't like Dimitri. A lot of people do, but I personally think that he is the weakest of the three. But even he has something going on with him that's captivating for people. Incredible supporting cast. Gameplay is really good. Maybe not the best. I would argue Engage does beat Three Houses on the moment-to-moment gameplay front. But in terms of music, in terms of character design, in terms of writing, in terms of voice acting, in terms of visual design, I think Three Houses still reigns supreme over the entire franchise and most of the genre. It is my favorite tactics game. It is one that I absolutely adore with like all of my heart. I really, really love Three Houses. And I'm really intrigued by Fortune's Weave to see how much it learned from going backwards with Engage with the story and character development. Will they manage to find that middle ground of Three Houses social and character balance and Engage combat and gameplay feel in battle? Like, if they could get those two things to mesh, they will have the best Fire Emblem game. We'll see. That's speculatory into 2026. But Three Houses at the moment is the best of the best in that series, to me. Skies of Arcadia Legends. This game, I think, was what really awakened the desire to play more role-playing games. I got this on the Dreamcast when it came out in 2000, bought it again in 2002 when it came on the GameCube. Love this game to death. Vice is my favorite male character in all of video games. Ica and Fina are fantastic support characters. It's all built around them and their quest to try to save their world as pirates and sailing, exploration, doing good deeds, taking down fascism. It's all here. Excellent character design, excellent gameplay with 2 different battle systems that are both really fun. Arguably the hardest thing to really praise about it is the random encounter rate being way too high. But I am slowly dying of anticipation for any sort of remaster remake of Skies. Please, Sega, just do it. Please. XCOM 2, War of the Chosen. What a fantastic strategy tactics game. I come back to this periodically and fall into it and just spend a good 20, 40 hours doing everything and then feeling really satisfied. Same argument really with XCOM Enemy Within, although it's been too long since I played that version. I haven't played War of the Chosen for a little bit. I actually went through regular XCOM 2 this year for funsies, just to remind myself what it was different, how it was different. And I do think War of the Chosen is superior because it has this really random element that you just never know when the Chosen are going to show up, which just adds a lot of tension to every single map that you're playing. It's like, if you round that corner and the fog of war vanishes, will there be a Chosen standing there to challenge you and really ruin your strategy? Because they do that so well. Are you ready to handle that? Are you positioned to handle that? Really great game. I love a lot of the additions that they made too, like the swarm maps are great. There's just so much good about XCOM 2 War of the Chosen that builds on what was already a fantastic foundation with XCOM 2. Dragon Quest Journey of the Cursed King, the 8th of the Dragon Quest series, and still the best. And this is the 3DS version I'm referring to. PS2 version looks better, has the orchestrated soundtrack, but Dragon Quest 8 3DS has a much better, more fluid combat system. No random encounters except in the sea, so you can see everything. They redid the whole world map, and it's better. They added 2 new playable characters in Red and Mori, who were already fantastic supporting characters and are now part of the party and are so much better than Angelo. It's the best way to play Dragon Quest VIII until they get around to doing a remaster of it. Easily the best of the franchise. Great character design and writing and voice acting. Some of my favorite voice acting in video games probably would be in the top 5, and that might be a fun video at some point to break down my favorite voice acting in games. I think this is some of Toriyama's best work, easily within Dragon Quest, but it's almost as good as Chrono Trigger for me in terms of the character designs. And I think that outside of maybe a little too much padding here and there, it's a really good story and really engaging. I think it's just the best one. And the way that they expanded the combat system with tension just really makes every battle so much more engaging to do. Love that game. Really would like to see that also get a remaster in the near future. Earthbound. I love this quirky Super Nintendo cult classic in every sense of the word. It was shunned by the press at the time for not being fancy, being a 2D Super Nintendo game. And all those people were horrifically wrong. Earthbound to this day, is an exquisitely written, translated gem. Love the moment to moment with it. It's just so kooky and bizarre, surreal, a really great like satire of sorts of modern society at that time. And while the characters are maybe not as like memorable as Skies of Arcadia or Three Houses or Chrono Trigger, I think that Ness, Paula, Jeff, and Pooh are all still fantastic protagonists. And the enemy design is incredible. Really fun soundtrack. It's fun to battle things in this game. It's just great. It's a really good time. And I played it probably a good 10, 15 years after it came out, and I was still blown away at the imagination and whimsy of Earthbound, even after playing things like on the PS3. That's just how amazingly crafted that game was, and it's truly a shame that it got shunned so much by the press at that time, but fans have certainly made its legacy linger well beyond that and basically snuffed out those misguided opinions of the enamored 3D polygonal reviewing press of the time. Unicorn Overlord. Ogre Battle 64 was close to making it onto this list, but I do think in many ways Unicorn Overlord is the better of that game type. Which says a lot about how well Vanillaware executed on their mechanics. This game just feels really good to go through each map and watch your party grow and develop them out and get them to go into specific positioning that does different things depending on where they are at in the group, and determining like the best way to group your people together with the weapons that they have and the tactics that they have to just maximize damage. It's so good. It's also, in my opinion, Vanillaware's best work on character design. I love a lot of these characters in a way that I haven't really been able to love Vanillaware characters because they are too pandery in a lot of the other games. There's still some of that here, but it is more restrained. Fantastic soundtrack. Love the way this game looks. Beautiful, beautiful game. Really the biggest complaint that I could probably toss at it is the writing is like Fire Emblem Game Boy Advance era quality, which is not really a bad thing. It's just not as good as its inspiration, Ogre Battle. Doesn't have the political intrigue or anything like that, really. It is pretty straightforward, but I don't mind. I think with everything else clicking on all cylinders, that I think that it's okay that the game is written the way that it is. The Last Story. I am a huge fan of The Last Story. I would need to replay it so I can properly assess it, because I feel like the rate that I have feels about that game, it should be higher, but I haven't played it in so long that I don't fully remember all of the aspects that makes me do that feeling, like that makes me feel that way. I love its combat system being real time with the ability to interact with the environment in some ways, and using your party members' magic as a way to enhance your own character. You can run up walls and do jumping strikes from it. Just, it's so sick. Some of my favorite character designs in any game. I absolutely love the character designs in Last Story. Such a haunting soundtrack. I think it's Uematsu's best work. I really do. Some of my favorite artwork of any video game. And it's just so moody. I love how you just feel mood every moment in this game. It takes a while to build to a conclusion in terms of feeling like Zale needs to have a backbone and like go, this is wrong. It does happen, and it's so satisfying when it does, but it takes a long time to get there. But I love this game, and it could possibly be higher by next year. I think I want to put this on my 2026 replay list. Pull out the Wii U and get that going. I would love it if Nintendo could figure out a way to convince Mistwalker to let them re-release it. I would be over the moon, honestly. Metaphor. What a pleasant surprise this game turned out to be. I was ready to write off anything Studio Zero was going to work on following Persona 5, which just hit so many of red flags. And, you know, I also had some pretty harsh feelings about Persona 4 in terms of how it handled gender and LGBTQ related topics. I did not talk about it despite seeing trailers and all that. I skipped it because I just didn't think I was gonna fall deeply in love with this game, because they learned from everything they had done with Persona and made a game that is not problematic in the ways that the Persona series has been. I am so happy that Metaphor turned out as good as it was. I was enthralled by this game. Incredible art direction, beautiful soundtrack, great characters. I love so many of the characters in Metaphor. The problems of Persona's gender, LGBTQ discussions are not even relevant here. It could have been stronger on its political messaging, but still, I felt like it was good enough. I love the twists in the game, which I won't spoil here. Combat's a lot of fun. It's a great feeling game in terms of just battle mechanics and wandering around. And its artistic achievement is something that I truly am impressed by. It is, from every menu, carefully considered. From just, you pop into the menu and you just get blasted with this incredible artwork, and then as you go in deeper in each menu, it gets more nuanced and continues that. It's just like, I am stunned at Atlus's capacity to make some of the best menus in a video game. But that care just expands beyond that, and it's like in every detail. Metaphor is so beautiful. In a game, in a year, in 2024, that had two absolutely stunning games with Unicorn Overlord and Metaphor, Atlus was just really firing on creating some of the most visually stunning games. I love both Unicorn Overlord and Metaphor for their artistry. But I do think that the reason Metaphor fell so high is I was just not prepared for it. It became my biggest surprise, I believe, of 2024. With good reason, because I was not. I wrote off that studio, and they proved me wrong. XCOM Enemy Within. This is what got me into XCOM. I have spent hundreds of hours in Enemy Unknown and Enemy Within. Enemy Within is my preference out of those two. I think it's the better game. The expansion added so much to it that going back to Enemy Unknown would just feel weird. It would feel like a stripped down version because Enemy Within is so much better. It's been so long since I played it though, so this is really just off of good vibes and memories of going through the game with my party of 6 soldiers with a couple backups that came in as they got injured, and just having the time of my life, much like I did with XCOM 2 and War of the Chosen. It deserves to be in this top 12 just as much. It's just not as good as 2 ultimately ended up being. Because it just tightens up so much stuff. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. The newest game on this list, but incredibly deserving. I think Sandfall built a truly mind-blowing visual masterwork in Expedition 33. It is absolutely stunning to look at this game. Even though it doesn't have as much money put into it as a AAA major publisher release, the artistic chops on display with this game are out of this world. Top caliber voice acting. I think that Andy Serkis delivered a few of the most powerful lines in any video game ever in Clair Obscur. I love Luna and Mael and Gustav a bunch. No spoilers, but I think those three characters are very deserving to be in some of my favorite characters of all time. Soundtrack is through the roof good. Like, I am unsure of any game released this year that can top the breadth of quality that Expedition 33 has. And the combat is so good. The moment-to-moment wandering and exploration feels really nice. It's got tons to look for. There's so much side content and post-game content. It's just rich with stuff to do. Honestly, the biggest complaint I have is the story twist. I won't get into it here. You can listen to my review video if you want more details. But I adore this game, and it's definitely in the running for Game of the Year for 2025. And then last, but certainly not least, is SteamWorld Heist 2. And I loved the original SteamWorld Heist. I'm so glad that this sequel more or less improves upon it by making the in-between mission content more engaging by having the submarine and being able to freely explore and do sub-to-ship battles, and it feels a lot better. That's honestly the biggest improvement. The moment-to-moment gameplay is about the same. There's a couple new classes. There's different enemy types. Different scenario challenges, but SteamWorld Heist 2 basically took everything that was great about the original and then amped it up and made it better. I miss Piper as the protagonist. I do think that having, I don't even remember the guy's name. The protagonist for this game not be a playable character is an interesting choice. And his story is interesting, but I do think I would have preferred him to be more engaged in the overall game than just kind of sitting on the sidelines for most of it. But again, incredible soundtrack by Steam Powered Giraffe. They came back, they delivered even more songs, and the original soundtrack is also hiding in the game. So I get to lump those two together. It is really a shame that this, I think, didn't pick up as much as it should have. All right, that's my top 12 role-playing games, strategy games, tactics games, as of November 2025. I'm going to be taking some time off from videos. I want to get some work done on books. I want to get stuff going on my awards stuff that I do. And I'm protesting Jeff Keighley this year, so I will not be live reacting to the Game Awards. I will probably do a reaction to trailers separate from the Game Awards. But he's done some things lately that I think is shitty, so I don't want to give him any additional publicity. So we're not. And that's that. So we'll be back probably around mid-December with awards stuff, and maybe we'll do some trailer reactions before that, and if Nintendo decides to drop them direct or something between now and then, we'll do that. But I'm not expecting them to do anything unless they decide to do something for Metroid, but I kind of doubt it at this point, especially with people getting really upset about the escort guy. So we'll call it there. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you in a few weeks. Take care, friends.